Recorded Books presents Failures of Forgiveness, What We Get Wrong and How to Do Better by Myisha Cherry. Narrated by Tracey Conyer Lee. Introduction: Forgiveness and Magical Thinking. On June 17, 2015, the white supremacist Dylann Roof committed what many would call an unforgivable crime. During a Bible study at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, he murdered 9 black churchgoers. The shooting and the subsequent courtroom events gripped the nation, not only because of the horrific nature of the crime, but also because of the way in which some members of the victims' families responded to Roof. They forgave him. At Roof's first court appearance, Nadine Conyer, the daughter of 70-year-old victim Ethel Lance, said, "You took something very precious from me. I will never talk to her again. I will never, ever hold her again. But I forgive you. God have mercy on your soul." Anthony Thompson, the husband of slain Myra Thompson, forgave Roof and implored him to repent and confess. Bethane Middleton Brown, the sister of Reverend DePayne Middleton Doctor, acknowledged her anger in the courtroom, but expressed her sister's commitment to love over hate. "She taught me that we are the families that love built. We have no room for hate, so we have to forgive." Bethane forgave Roof, as would Felicia Sanders, the mother of Tawanza Sanders. As Bethane told Roof at his sentencing in 2017, "I wanted to hate you, but my faith tells me no. I wanted to remain angry and bitter, but my view of life won't let me." Despite the slaughter of their family members in a sacred and safe space by a man whom the victims had welcomed, the bereaved found it in their hearts to forgive. Many of us witnessing the case could not imagine that we would do the same. Surely we have withheld forgiveness from people for transgressions far less serious. Even the most pious of bystanders would have understood the family's refusal to forgive. And yet, some resisted hatred and publicly forgave. With resentment and revenge so rampant in Western culture, these forgivers deserve our praise for their unconditional act. Perhaps they could teach us something about forgiveness. Following the courtroom statements, many editorial columns across the country suggested as much, with headlines like "Hate Won't Win" and "How Emmanuel Reveals the Power of Forgiveness." In response to what took place at Emmanuel, I became overwhelmed by grief, sadness, and anger. Soon after, reading the media's coverage of the families, I was overtaken by worry. I was troubled by the fact that forgiveness was being depicted as something magical. Enchanted words that, once spoken and performed, could immediately heal wounds and racism. Less was said about what it took for the family members to forgive and continue on that path. In addition, even though the case is an example of extraordinary acts of forgiveness, not every family member or person in attendance responded with a forgiving stance. Who were they, and why did they decide to withhold forgiveness? Weren't their stories worth hearing too? I was bothered by the fact that the media were using the word forgiveness with no attention to what it meant, what it didn't mean, what forgiveness required, and what our role was as community members in helping to make forgiveness a reality. I was also worried that outsiders would use Nadine's and Anthony's forgiveness to force other people to forgive. If those in Charleston could forgive Roof, clearly you should forgive me. My sense is that while many were inspired by these individuals' willingness to forgive, fewer were inspired to curb and halt hatred and violence. We were praising and promoting forgiveness, yet taking its meaning for granted. Part of the problem
Sample complete. Ready to continue?